Good morning. This is Bill from Curious Cars on a rather beautiful Florida Thursday. I really do have to say, it is just a stunning, stunning morning. It's these times, this time of year, these days, where little fronts blow through, where I remember why it is that I live in Florida to begin with. You know, when it's August or July and it's 107 in the shade with 143% humidity, you wonder what the hell you're doing there. Why you ever ended up in this horrible, godforsaken jungle of a place. But days, look at that bird. He came swooping down. I'll just pretend he's not there. Anyway, you wonder why the hell you ever ended up here. And then today, when it's beautiful out like this, when the weather's nice and it's, you know, sub-zero up north, you start to remember why it is that you're here, and that's a nice thing. So, very, very chipper this morning. No complaints at all. What do I have? Well, before I get into it, I want to go into one quick little thing about retardation on the streets. I just have to get into this. On the way home last night, and I'm driving this 15,000 mile in the wrapper, all original car. You know, I'm in the center lane of US 41 heading home. The left lane binds up, and some nitwit, of course in a Korean car, decides that he's going to hang a hard right into my lane where I'm going like 40. He's going 0. I have like 10 feet to react. Thank God I do spec Miata racing, because otherwise I would have just smashed into him. But, you know, my reflexes for an old guy have been pumped up from all the Miata driving I've been doing lately, and I was able to do a really radical maneuver, avoid hitting him while avoiding hitting the car in the right lane next to me. And it's frankly a miracle, and it just makes me hate Korean cars even more. Never mind the people who own them. And okay, sorry, you know, there's probably people who own Korean cars watching this thing who are fine and nice people, but it's, you know, you're few and far between, let me tell you. I really don't understand it. You know, you're on the highway, you've got two types of Korean cars. You've got the ones who drive 71 miles an hour in the fast lane, or 69, you know, looking straight ahead, hands gripping the steering wheel, pretending that, you know, they're going the maximum limit and that should be good for everybody. Well, it's not. Move the hell over. And then you've got the other nitwits going 107, weaving in and out of traffic, you know, trying to cause accidents, trying to get wherever the hell they're going. And let me tell you something, man. I am quite sure of this in my heart of hearts. If you're the guy in a, you know, 3 hubcap Elantra with 1 temporary spare on the right front, doing 115 on the interstate, when you get where you're going, nobody gives a shit that you've arrived. Nobody cares, so you may as well just go the normal speed limit or a little over like the rest of us and flow along the proper lanes of traffic. So anyway, I don't know what it is. I just feel like we've devolved into the third world on the streets and highways, and the way people drive is beyond frustrating. And frankly, I'm all for bringing back summary executions on the side of the road for traffic malfeasance, but nobody wants to hear all this. Let me get into the car. What I've got today is a 2001 Chevrolet Camaro SS convertible. I know a lot of people aren't going to be very interested in this car, which is fine. It doesn't really matter to me. I am. I do like this car. I like driving this car, and I like being around this car, and I'll get into why. For one reason, my first car, the first car that I got when I was 15 years old, and it was very difficult for 6 months before I got my full license to have it in the garage while I was riding the big yellow school bus. But it was a 79 Formula Firebird. That's a second generation F-body. And it was beautiful. I mean, it had styling that was sort of loosely based on 50s Ferraris, long in the front, short in the back, 4 seats, very, very attractive, well-styled car, which is, you know, what a pony car is supposed to be. I don't love the term pony car, but I'm going to use it anyway. The term pony car came out in '64 with the Ford Mustang. which was essentially a secretary's car. You know, this inline six-cylinder, skinny tires, but a small percentage of them had big engines, big tires, you know, handled well, were very quick. And in fact, they birthed a special segment of the Trans Am Racing Series, which was, you know, some of the best grassroots racing there ever was. When the Camaro came out in '68, sorry, oh, I'm going to get shit for that. When it came out in '67, late '66, it went on sale as a '67 model. The rivalry took off and has been going on forever since. Camaro and Mustang have been at war with each other, and they've brought us some very fascinating stuff over the years. Now, this is the fourth generation Camaro, and I know that there's a fifth gen and soon to be a sixth gen, if not already a sixth gen, but this is the true last Camaro, in the sense of the one that was, you know, the direct descendant of the original '67. Whatever they came out with after this was just sort of a retro, you know, let's capitalize on the name and make some, I'm going to get shit for that too. I don't care. The fourth gen Camaro, as underappreciated as it is, was the last real, you know, descendant of the original '67 Camaro. There is a company called SLP, stands for Street Legal Performance. And this is where it all gets very convoluted, because there's two SLPs. There's SLP Engineering and SLP Performance, or something like that. For the sake of this video, we're talking about SLP Engineering. And what they were was a subcontractor to GM, where, you know, GM took a certain number of Camaros, Firebirds, farmed them out to SLP, who put go-fast parts on it, 50 state legal emissions. Bah. But they did, and sold them through the dealerships as new cars with full factory warranties. The first one, I think, was the 91, there were a few, mostly 92 Firebird Firehawks. Which, you know, were insane. I mean, if you went for the full option package, you got F40 brakes, you got 360 horsepower or so, and all that only cost you like an extra 20 or 30 grand over what the sticker price of a normal Firebird was. But anyway, that cemented SLP in Pontiac and Chevrolet history, and they went on and on to do more stuff. SLP was founded by a guy named Ed Hamburger, very unfortunate name, frankly. You try Googling him, all you get are pictures of, you know, something Dagwood would be eating. But anyway, Ed Hamburger was a former drag race guy, obviously quite the entrepreneur. He started making oil pans for NASCARs and drag race applications, did very, very well with those, moved on to other stuff, and eventually created this company that would tune General Motors cars to the point that GM actually made them what's called a second sticker variety. So they would, GM would build a Z28, like this was an 01 Z28 in the beginning. It got shipped from the factory to the SLP guys. This one, geez, here we go. This one was made in Canada at the St. Therese assembly line in Quebec. SLP created a factory in Canada to accept these cars and convert them into the SS Camaros, and what they did was add some performance parts to them that upped the ante and made them all pretty cool. Anyway, let's just get into this thing. The sun's in our way, but the hell with it. There's a little trunk release down here. So this wing is SLP, you know, add-on. It kind of higher than factory, gives you more downforce theoretically. They call it the IROC wing, I believe, and looks pretty cool, actually, I have to say. And it is all fiberglass, so it's very lightweight. In the trunk, you actually have pretty good room for a 4-seat convertible. This little bag thing houses the parade cover here for the top, which actually, while I have the trunk open, I'm going to remove that and put it in. But anyway, it you know, it gives you pretty good room back there. Very, very nice stuff, and all kinds of stuff you can fit in there. I have my bag of crap and my driver's, my license plate. To remove this thing, I push that. I can lift this up. Ow, God damn it. Let's see if I can, oh, God, everything's so hard one-handed. Let me get my license plate out of there. I'll put this all away properly later, but for now, we'll leave it out. Remove this. Get that in there. Very gently. This is a pretty well-preserved example, so I don't want to scratch anything. I'm lucky I didn't total it last night. Actually, while I close the trunk, I'm going to hang the license plate so I don't forget it. It's nice having this stuff in a bag. You just put it right here, close the trunk, and you're good to go. See the fixed antenna. This thing is so vintage, even for 2001. Have a look under the hood. We'll put the top up in a minute. The hood is also SLP. It's fiberglass, it's lightweight, it has forced ram air induction, and actually looks quite stylish and nice on the front of this car. If you order just the Z28 without the SS package, without the SLP stuff, it was really rather plain Jane. The SLP did add some nice visual dynamics to it. But anyway, this is the LS1, 5.7 liters, directly out of the Corvette, basically. All aluminum block and heads. It's been tweaked by SLP. It's got a SLP cold air intake, some exhaust tuning, catback exhaust system. It bumped the factory horsepower from, I want to say, 305 up to 335, without the exhaust 325. But anyway, it added enough oomph to it to make it pretty potent. I have to say, I do like all the weird architecture under there. It looks quite strange. There you see where the air comes through in the back, that forced induction system, and really helps that guy breathe. Now, I mean, this thing is more of a showpiece than a race car. 15,000 miles, garage since new. You know, it's the one that goes across Meekum and Barrett-Jackson now and 20 years from now and, you know, pulls more money than the rest of the example. This isn't a beat-up driver thing, which if I owned one, that's probably what I'd have so I could, you know, really flay the shit out of it. But this one I have to treat quite nice and gently. But anyway, everything all very lovely under there, and you can see the few little SLP add-ons that make it what it is. Nice. The design of this Camaro, I think, is quite attractive. Again, you know, they're not... it's not widely appreciated today, but I think that's changing slowly but surely as, you know, these cars become older and more collectible. I can't believe this thing is almost, Jesus Christ, 20 years old now. It shocks me. I look at this thing and I feel like it's a pretty new car, but I think that's a function of age. You can see they also had to give it kind of a higher ride height back then to make the bumper standards work. There's too much air in that front wheel well. If I owned this thing, I'd have to put some kind of lowering springs on it. SLP did tweak the suspension, so it does handle better than a Z28 from the time would, but damn does it need to be dropped a few inches to look proper. But of course, collectors are looking for all stock versions, and yeah, that's what this is. The wheels are SLP, what are they, 10-spoke, kind of good-looking stuff. It's got Goodyear Eagles on there, nice big brake calipers under there, nice big discs. The braking on the car is quite good. Has four-wheel discs as well. It just kills me, that antenna. It's right off a '94 Pontiac Grand Am. There you see the SLP badge on the back. And of course, SLP is still going today. They're tuning the newer Camaros and even some SUVs and stuff. So Ed Hamburger still keeps things rolling along. Let's get this soft top up. Oh my God. Alright, so get our ignition on. There's the top button. And look at the rear view. We can see it come up. Probably move a little faster if I had the alternator going. Very, very simple, and I have to say that one of the things that I like about this car is its simplicity. Just click those guys into place. That's the soft top up. We can run our windows. Somebody put a nice Florida tint on there. Take the key out, and let's have a look at what we got. Here's something kind of fascinating. I looked up production numbers last night. 01 was very kind of slim production for the Camaro. People had gotten more into trucks and SUVs. The Camaro was not selling as well as they would have wanted it to, so only 29,000 Camaros were built in 2001, significantly less than came out in '67. So it was a dwindling car, and in fact GM in 01 announced that it would kill the Camaro at the end of '02. Of those Camaros, only 6,000 of them were SSs that got tuned by SLP. And of all of those 6,000, only 54 were convertibles with the 6-speed manual finished in light pewter metallic. So there you go. This is one of 54 cars that was built in this color combination and trim package. And I think that's pretty neat. You know, I mean, again, for a collectible car that you can get for, you know, relatively cheap money considering what it is and how rare it is, that's neat when you can own this thing and say that there are only 54 other ones exactly like it in the world ever. And that's just kind of cool stuff to me. But anyway, you can see the soft top is incredible condition, mint perfect, ready to go. Glass rear window with defrost, all very lovely. Stuff that turns into crap on, you know, outside stored cars is all very nice in this. The weather strip, these little triangles, you know, you can tell a key hasn't scratched this lock 5 million times. That's a show car. I mean, this is a show car. This is, again, one of the rarefied versions, but love the SS badging on the back. Doesn't say Z28 anywhere on it, even though it is a factory Z28 that got the SS treatment. Only in '96, I believe, were they badged as SS Z28s. All right, so here is an important feature, and that's this little build decal. I'm going to zero in. If someone's interested, they can pause it and decode some of this stuff. But I believe it's the Y2Y. That little code right there that indicates this was one of the cars that got the second sticker treatment that was shipped from the factory to SLP for this treatment. Inside, you know, classic pony car stuff. I'm going to go to the other side. It's too sunny on this side. I should tell you, okay, so we did Turkey Trot last weekend. Remember, that was the race I was talking about coming up, the Miata race. Went pretty well, other than I got hit in the practice session by a complete idiot who had absolutely no reason to hit me. He basically pit maneuvered me, spun me around, nailed my driver's side rear wheel with his passenger side front wheel at twice my speed coming out of turn 10 for absolutely no reason in a test session. People like that drive me absolutely insane. There's no reason for it at all. I mean, there's nothing to gain. There's no glory. We're not in a race. We're just out there running the cars, getting ready for the next day. And this idiot hits me, bends my spindle bolt, which we have to hammer back out to get the wheel somewhat straight. And it just took out my whole wheel. I had to run an older tire I had, and it just kind of psychologically screwed me up for the whole weekend. But I did fine. My goal was top 20. And I think I was 22nd in the sprint race, 23rd in the feature, and I can live with that. For me, for an old guy, that's not bad. Peter's kid, who is 16, is now doing this. And like all 16-year-olds, his driving is magical. This was his third race. He still is on his novice permit, and he almost passed me. Very, very close. Very disturbing. He was, you know, filling up my rearview mirror. I have to say, if he'd gotten beside me, if it looked like he was going to pass me, I'd have had to have taken both of us out in a big steaming pile of crap just to avoid the horror of being told that I was passed by a student driver after doing this for like 5 or 6 years. So thank God he ended up, you know, in my rearview mirror, I saw him tangle with another car and go spinning off into a wall. And I've never been so happy to see a child in danger. Anyway, classic pony car stuff here. Tiny rear seats. Your Canadians are going to be miserable as hell back there. You stuff them back there, but they're not going to be happy, especially on long trips. Kids, yeah, they'll be okay, and who cares if they're not. Maybe small adults, like old little Richard, the sales guy, would probably fit back there okay. You got some cup holders if you want to drink your miseries away, and everything nice and proper back there. Beautiful leather seats. Let's go around to the front, hop in. You know, I never liked this part of the design where the mirror kind of blended into the fender. It's less annoying to me now than it was when the car came out, but it was a styling cue that I didn't like back then. Now, okay, I get it. It kind of looks kind of cool and swoops the car together somehow. There's an exterminator. Maybe you could get some of those guys on the highway for me. And I do like the black and white SS badges on the fender. I think they look pretty cool. Oh boy. Let's fire this thing up. For this Magnaflow exhaust it's surprisingly quiet. It gives you a nice grumble, but it's not obnoxious, which is really surprising. I would have thought it would be. Nice seatbelt on. Okay, so this was not a good era for GM, or really the F-body. And I mean, again, you have to remember, this thing was made in '94 initially, and by '01, GM had very much stopped developing it, so they weren't adding anything at this point. And the fit and finish was always kind of crappy in Camaros. I mean, it's about as good as it gets in this thing now. Better break off. There we go. And, you know, but I mean, they're plasticky stuff and, you know, very little soft materials. Didn't compare to European cars of the time. But goddamn has this thing been well kept. So, I mean, if you want to feel like it felt when it was new, this is about as close as you're going to get. The window switches, window lock switch, door lock switch. That isn't a window lock switch, it's just a door lock switch. Your power mirrors, your little handle there. There's no gun storage at all. Is there? What do we have down there? I mean, maybe you fit something in there, but it'd be a little bit too obvious. You got a headlight switch and a dimmer. It's a tilt steering wheel. Here's this big giant single stalk for your wipers and your cruise control. You've got this giant airbag right out of the 90s with a multifunction wheel. It's leather, feels good, but you've got grippities more at the 930 than 10 and 2. It's like 930 and 230. I'd like them to be just a smidge higher up there, but it's fine. Over here you got your fog lights, you got a Camaro badge, you got a pretty good sounding radio. Nothing on. Let's nothing. Let's see if we find anything on other commercials. There we go. Yeah, I can't say I mind a flock of seagulls. That's got to be a pretty good 80s tune. Anyway, you got sort of a cheesy, you know, air conditioning control there, but it works fine. SLP added the 6-speed. It's a T56 6-speed manual gearbox. SLP added a short throw Hurst shifter. There you got a big SS Camaro badge with your 6-speed shift pattern. You got what passes for an ashtray here, a cup holder. More storage here for cups and CDs and that sort of things. All very nice. Over there you got a set of books and papers and whatever else in the glove box. You got your airbag. I mean, look at that, man. They're not fucking around. I mean, they're letting that passenger know he's got an airbag. He has got an airbag, or she'll be happy about that. That is a big airbag display. And anyway, otherwise, you know, simple and good enough. As long as you don't beat the crap out of it or be too rough on the interior, it'll stay okay. I do like the big power hump there from the forced induction. You know, very nice muscle car kind of feel to it, having that big hump. And man, you know you got a V8 under the hood. There you see just 15,000 miles on the clock, 150 mile an hour speedo, full gauges. You've got your water temp, your oil pressure, your voltmeter, and of course your fuel. All very simple and well laid out. Never do enjoy shifting while holding the camera, but yeah, we'll make it work. Let's see if the sun's too much or if we'll just keep going. Yeah, it's good enough. I didn't hit it there, but GM has this first to four thing that's built into these cars, and I know this one has it because it got me a couple times, and that's this little solenoid that forces your shift. If it could tell you're just having a normal run off a stoplight, it'll make you go into fourth from first in an effort to save gas and keep you in tune with the cafe standards of the time, the fuel mileage standards. Also, 6th gear is so tall. With 75 miles an hour, you're turning about 1600 RPM and getting well over 30 miles to the gallon. And that is kind of cool. So, I mean, this thing actually works as a commuter car in terms of fuel mileage. Of course, the way that I want to drive it and get on it, it's not going to get very good mileage at all. But I mean, this really takes me back, and not only takes me back, but it's a true muscle car. Never mind the stupid pony car thing. This is a true muscle car, and it was, you know, I get all the horsepower wars and stuff that's gone on and still going on today, and, you know, we've got our Challengers and whatnot, but this is one of the truest muscle cars that can really trace its lineage right back to the originals, and I think that's pretty cool stuff. Let's get into first and see what we got. See why I like this car. Yeah, that's the reason. Hit the rev limiter. Man, you know, so there it is. It's 0 to 60, I want to say in the high 4s, maybe the low 5s, quarter mile time in the 13s. It is a joy to move this, you know, manual gearbox V8 through its paces, and it's something that's missing today. You know, I guess you get it in the Challengers and the Camaros of the day, but otherwise you just don't see it that often. You know, everything's gone to V6 turbos or hyper technical 4 cylinders with lots of horsepower. God damn it, this is just a great old pushrod V8 with a Borg-Warner 6-speed manual gearbox, tons of torque, tons of pep, and really just brings you back. Solid rear axle even. It handles well, but still a solid rear axle. And it is, you know, what an original muscle car was, and it's part of the modern incarnation of that as of circa 2001. Yeah, it just responds. So anyway, there it is. This is a 2001 Chevrolet Camaro SLP SS convertible, one of 54, finished in light pewter metallic, 15,000 miles, definitely collectible quality. And you know what? I tell you what, you can cry about this, that, or the other, but you buy a car like this for what we're selling it for, it's not going to go down in value. It's going to stay the same. You just keep the miles off it. You're going to have fun driving it. It's an incredible, you know, joy to take around as a weekend cruiser. And I defy you to duplicate that. I mean, you can go buy a, you know, very modern M3 or, you know, some other German car, and it's all great and it's joyous, but you're going to lose 10 to 15 grand the first year of ownership, and that just kind of sucks. A car like this, you know, it's much better in terms of the way it holds on to its value now. So all very neat stuff. Anyway, if you have an interest in this, call the guy. I'm going to try to sneak in here. I'm going to be hated by whoever I try it on. Try it anyway. Call the guys at Auto House, 239-263-8500, on the web at autohousenaples.com. Really appreciate you having a look today. Apologize, I haven't got that Riviera up yet. I know I keep saying I will, and I haven't, but it's coming. I promise it's coming. And some other fun stuff. So thanks again, and we will see you with the next one. Look at that, there's 6th gear, and I'm running at what? 1600. That isn't 6th gear, sorry, that's 5th. You're 6th. Yeah, 1,000 RPM at 52. This thing's just sipping fuel, like in a Prius. All right, thanks again. We'll see you with the next one. Take care.